let's go. I have stencils. I don't even know how old some of these stencils are. So I really need to organize them somewhere where I can kind of, have them in one spot instead of just in this document protector. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a laminated storage case. So this is what I came up with. And just open this up, and I just added some extra snaps because if this gets thicker, I can kind of move that back. But let me just move out so you can see this. I have all my stencils, and I went ahead and labeled them. I also kept this little piece here. That way when I'm doing videos, I can always go back and refer to the original piece that this came in. And then I just have this new one here, Frosted Forest. And this seems to work because this is a really nice size. And then I have one, two, I've got some extra pockets that I can use. So this had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 pages, and I have 20 pockets. So that's not too bad. And then like I said, I can just go ahead and snap that. Okay, so what you're going to need to make this, and I've already brought out my pieces that I'm going to use, and I want to do, let's do the math. Let's do the math on this. Let me just kind of move in here. Okay, so you're going to need at least 2 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock, and this is going to be your front and back. So your front and back, you need to cut 6.5 by, I'm going to say 11 5/8, but I had to trim that down when I was actually putting it in the sleeve. And then this is going to be the back, and then the front is going to be 6.5 by 8 inches. And then the little piece here, which I kind of added to my front piece, is going to be, I'm just going to call it a strip. If you want to put that there, that's going to be 6.5 by, and I think I'm going to do like 1.5 or 2 inches. For your actual page, each page, and I'm just using basic white cardstock. So here's basic white cardstock, and each page is going to be cut. I have 8, 9. Okay, so if I have 9 sheets, this is my 12 by 12 for my cover, I will need, for each 12 by 12 sheet, so I'm just going to put this 2 because you're going to need 2 12 by 12s. For each 12 by 12 sheet, you're going to need pockets. And each pocket, we're going to put a pocket on the front and the pocket on the back. Each pocket is going to be 4 by 7 inches. So you're going to need 2 for each one. Now I have 9 pieces, so I'm going to need 18 pockets. So you can get 3 pockets out of each 12 by 12 sheet. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 3 is 18. So I can make exactly 18 pockets out of 6 pieces of 12 by 12. And I'm going to cut those 4 by 7. You need 18 pockets and you're going to have 9 pages. So I just kind of want to zoom in on the math here, because those are going to be, and I will have those on my web, but I just kind of wanted to walk through the math. Now, that is the DSP you need for the pockets. So these 9 that are 6.5 by 7, you're going to need, and these are hinges that we're going to put on each one, and these are 3/4 by 6.5. So you're going to need 9 of these, because they're going to go right along. So I have 1. Okay, so I have 9 of those, and as you can see from our example, what these do is they allow these pieces right here to kind of fold. So they kind of give them some support here so that these can fold over. And it allows these to get kind of puffy, and then our ring kind of stays, kind of allows for some growth. So I got plenty of growth on this. Now I'm using my CINCH machine, my large CINCH machine, and I'm using a 1-inch coil that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it has 12 holes for my coil. I'm also using snaps. You will need a laminator, and I'm using some thermal laminating pouches that are 3 mil, and those are letter size. You could use larger if your laminator machine takes that. Let's go ahead and get started. So let's put our pages aside and let's pull in our cardstock. Now I'm using the DSP for this project. It's just some DSP I have in my stash, and it happens to be the Paper Blooms Designer Series paper, and I'm just going to use front and back and then my pockets. Now I like using a whole pack of the cardstock, the DSP, that kind of comes together as a set. This one here were papers from the Bloom Impressions, and then this is Paper Blooms. So I just, because everything kind of goes together and it coordinates well, and I just kind of like that vibe. So that is what I used for that one, and we're using the Bloom Impressions, or rather we used the Bloom Impressions for that one, and this one we're using Paper Blooms. And I think I want either a coordinating strip, either out of this paper or this paper. Probably this paper. I kind of like that paper. So let's go ahead and get started by cutting out all our pockets, since we already have our pages cut. And then we're going to take our laminating folders and turn on the laminating machine, and I'm going to show you how we're going to go ahead and laminate these together. Okay, so let's get started. You will need to cut all your pieces out of the DSP, your front and back, as well as your pockets. Each sheet of DSP will yield 3 pockets, and you will cut them down to 4 inches by 7 inches. And if you want a coordinating strip, you should also cut that as well, and that should measure 6.5 by 1.5. Now I started by assembling my case by laying out each one of the pages and then putting the front and back pocket, and I kind of laid it out the way I wanted the colors and patterns to coordinate as I opened up that case. And you're just going to put those aside and take out your laminating pouches. So go ahead and take a laminating pouch and open it up and take your assembled pieces, your 3 layers, the 2 pockets, and your center page, and line them up to the bottom of the pouch. Then put your hinge and leave about 1/8 of an inch between the edge of your pocket and run that through your laminator. Now what I did is I went ahead and I assembled all my pockets and pages with each pouch, and then I turned on my laminator. That way I could just run all my pieces straight through. You also want to check to make sure that all your pieces have aligned between the pages and your pockets. Now for the front and back, here's the front, but for the back I'm going to go ahead and trim that edge so it fits perfectly within that pocket pouch, or rather the laminating pouch. And I'm going to trim it about 1/8 of an inch so it fits right inside of that laminating pouch. And then I'm going to add my strip, my coordinating strip, right on top of that. Okay, so here's my front, and look how that just came perfectly right to that edge. You can see how nice that edge turned out. Now, if there's any bubbles here that you want to clip down, all you have to do is to run it through one more time. So I have each one of these already put together, and I'm just going to run this through. So here's this one. And you can see right here, you can see that, but it's not quite adhered. It's got that nice clear right there, and then you kind of see like there's a bubble. So what I do is I turn it this way and I run it back through the laminator, but I don't want to run this paper over again. And then if they have any bubbles along this edge, if I find any bubbles, I go ahead and I rerun it through and it will perfectly seal it. And then I'm going to cut it down one more time. And you can see that sealed up very nicely. So that is all sealed. And I have a nice close seal. I'm going to go ahead and put this one in. Okay, so here's my front cover, and I've already trimmed it using my larger trimmer. So I'm just going to bring this trimmer in, and we're just going to line that up so we can just trim this side and this side. And there's our, that's where it's going to turn over. There's our front. So now we have these, and we're just going to go ahead and trim. I'm going to trim these. Okay, so now here's my covers. I'm going to take my covers out. I'm going to grab my X-Acto blade. Let me just pull this in, because all I'm going to do, and you may not be able to see this, but right here is just a little bit of a bubble. So it's sealed here and sealed here, and this is the bubble, and that is where I'm going to cut along this line, and that is going to create our pocket. So I'm just going to go slowly. Now the key to making sure that your craft knife doesn't go around is to do it poke it in at an angle as opposed to going straight down. If you poke it in at an angle, you're able to go along that other piece of paper a lot easier. Now before you assemble your book, you want to take your front and back cover and you want to line them up, and you're going to score for the folds where that back cover is going to fold over and where you're going to attach your snaps. You're going to fold it about 8 1/4, 9 1/4, and 9 5/8, and you have to kind of guesstimate that based on where you think the fold should go. So you'll lay that on your scoreboard. And then you need to fold those folds over and line up where you think the edge of the back cover is going to meet the front cover, and where you think those snaps are going to align. Then use a T-square to make sure it's straight and make little marks to where you think the snaps will go. Then you'll assemble the book, and then when you check your alignment, you can punch holes to put in the snaps. Okay, so I've got 2 holes here, and I'm going to put this right here. Okay. Okay, so we're now just going to place the coils in the back of the cinch machine, and it's going to close our coils, and just make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, now that I have my holes, I can go ahead and grab my snaps and put them in place, and then use my snap machine, and you can get this on Amazon, or a snap cruncher that basically snaps the two pieces and seals them together. So you kind of have a back tab, and then you have a front piece, and it's more or less kind of like a male-female piece that you put together, and you just press it in, and then it is on. And I usually put the female piece on the bottom and the male piece on the top, so that it's just a lot easier to snap. So there they are, nicely lined up, and that is how you put in your snaps. Okay, so here was the project that I came up with, okay, for my stencils. And then here's the final project, which I've completed here. And it has the snaps, which are a little tricky to kind of locate. But what I did was that I first kind of lined up my paper so that my edges were aligned, and I kind of marked where I thought the holes should be. Then I put the entire book together with the binding, and then after I did that is when I went ahead and I punched my holes to make sure that my snaps would align nicely. So here is my finished project here, and I have coordinating file folders, you can see right here, and I also have all the way here to the back. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 9 pages with, so there's 18 pockets to this. And I use the technique of just simply scoring those score lines in order to come up with a folded closure that's much like this one. Okay, but then I also did one more, and this one I did a little differently. This one, it's the exact same process for putting together, but here's a way you can use your 6x6 paper. So this is exactly 6 inches. It's cut by 3, so you can get a lot of these little folders out of a 6x6 paper pack that you may have, instead of using your 12x12. I did use the 12x12 to come up with my cover, but I used the exact same technique where I have these little hinges here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 24 pockets in this one. And what I did differently is, instead of scoring these creases, what I did is I cut each one of these these panels out. So it's the same as this. So I have 1, 2, 3 panels. So here you see in this one, I just have 1, 2, 3. So I cut those panels out and then I laid them into my transparencies. And here's just a really quick demonstration of just kind of how I put those together. So I just laid these into the thermal pocket for my laminator and just kind of lined them up and then laminated it, and then they folded nicely, and I don't have any buckling that I had with my other ones. And again, I use the same technique for attaching my snaps. Now I made one more, only this one is a 7 by 9, and I made these pockets so I can keep track of some of my notes for some of my projects that I have. I have projects, and I just had them kind of loosely clamped together, and now I have a place that I can just kind of use this to put notes, including some of my labels for my projects, as well as these proportional matting cards that I have. This is available to download on my website. So this one I chose not to make a snap enclosure simply because I just have this standing nicely on my desk. Now I also added a pocket, and this is something you can do, is I added a pocket, so there's an extra pocket here on the front. Now what I failed to do correctly is I failed to understand that I was going to have to flip this around in order to put the notebook together. So my pocket here, by having this on the background, came upside down. So that was a learning piece for me, that I should have thought about that when I was constructing my notebook. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 pages, 20 pockets, 21 counting this one, and if I had done this one correctly, I would have had 22. So you can really kind of expand your ability to have additional pockets. So there are some sample projects that you can make using this technique that I've shown you. If you haven't already, please hit like. All products are available on my online store. I will have measurements as well. Go to my blog for those details. And if you're looking for a demo, please consider joining my team, or consider joining as a hobbyist for $99 to enjoy a 20% discount. If you are a demo and like my content, please support my channel by hitting like, share, and leave a comment. This is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and stampartconnection.com. Happy stamping.